What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I want to talk about the least productive politician of 2021. Now, I posted this last night, and I would encourage you guys to go over there, go over to my polls. I'll post a link at the end of this video, and you guys can check it out and vote. If you have not voted, please vote. I want to know what you guys think about this, because we've been talking about a lot of public policy this year. And when it's come down to it, we've seen certain politicians be holdouts, certain politicians not want to do things. And so I wanted to do this. I thought it would be kind of fun to do the least productive politician in 2021. So we're going to go over that. We're also going to look at a few other polls that I posted in the last couple of weeks, because I think some of these posts are really important for us to focus on, and it kind of gives me an insight on how my viewers feel about a certain topic. So we're going to talk about that. But first off, on this channel, we talk about financial news and more. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you also see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so we're almost there. We're almost at the end of the year. And 2022, let's hope 2022 is better than 2021. So we're looking at a situation where we do have some different bills that are up, that are ready to move forward, or at least ready to start talking about moving forward with Build Back Better, and we have the voting rights bill. We have a few other bills that have come up as of late. So we're gonna have to see what happens in 2022. I'm hoping they get going very fast. I think because it's an election year, you're going to have politicians act a little more aggressive when it comes to wanting to move forward with something. They need to show some type of record. They need to run on something. And so hopefully we'll see some real change in the first couple of months. So you guys want to make sure you stay tuned. I'm here daily, so I'm posting these videos every day. So it takes you about 10 minutes to watch my video. You'll be able to get the information that's going on when it comes to the different policies that are going through Congress. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at let me see if I can go over. Okay, there we go. So we're going to take a look at a few different polls, and then we'll get to the final, the least productive politician in 2021. Okay, and this is based on how you guys feel. Okay, so the first poll that I post here is: do you think we will see any of the following in 2022? And the things here I have are stimulus checks, child tax credit, or a $200 raise for Social Security. And so 2,700 people participated in this poll, and we have 33% of the people said yes, that we will see these things in 2022. 58% say no. So that's an overwhelming amount of people saying no. They don't think that we're going to see any of these things in 2022. And then I put only the child tax credit. That's 10%. So, and that's pretty fair. I think when we're looking at things, when it comes to stimulus checks, you guys know how I feel about this. Although I think that stimulus checks are needed for a lot of people. I think right now politicians, they're not focused on stimulus checks. And until we see something, when we're looking at our economy, when we're looking at the current situation with COVID-19, if it continues to get worse, I think that's when they'll start looking at that again. But if things kind of stay the way they've been over all of last year, I don't really see the politicians wanting to move on a stimulus check. Now, we don't know. Like I said, this is one of those things where it's still up in the air. Being that it's an election year, you probably will have some politicians calling for it because they know that it could potentially mean a re-election for them. But we'll have to see how far they go with stimulus checks in 2022. The child tax credit, I think that's something that's most likely going to happen. And so we'll have to follow that. The $200 raise for Social Security, I don't know what they're going to do with Social Security. I know that they'll be talking about it. They're going to be talking about Social Security reform. They talk about it every year. But I think being that it's an election year, I think you're going to hear a lot more politicians talking about a raise or talking about Social Security as a whole. Now, as far as the raise, I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna talk about that. But Social Security reform is definitely something that is going to be talked about. Okay, so let's move to our next poll here. Do you think Senator Manchin is right for not supporting the $1.75 trillion spending bill? Okay, so we have 2,500 people participated in this poll, and yes, 25% of the people said yes, that he's right for not supporting. So that's you have people that are on that side. They're looking at Senator Manchin and say, yeah, you know what, he's doing the right thing. But an overwhelming majority of the people that were polled here, 75% say no. He's doing the wrong thing. So that's a large number, a very, very large number. And so we've been talking about Senator Manchin for I won't even say months. We've been talking about him for the last couple of years because he always tends to come up when you have something that's important that they're trying to pass, that the Democrats are trying to pass. Senator Manchin's always in there kind of putting in his 2 cents. And I talked about this early last year when we were talking about the $1.9 trillion stimulus package, the last stimulus package. And you saw Senator Manchin, in my words, he was trying to just be relevant. And so he continues to do this. Even with the first infrastructure bill, he had to be out there with the Build Back Better bill. Obviously, we know how that turned out, or at least so far we know how it's turned out. So he always wants to be relevant. And so, 75% of the people said, yeah, he's wrong in not supporting the $1.75 trillion bill. Okay, let's move forward to the next poll here. Do you think the president can use executive order to send out stimulus checks to the American people? I did a couple of videos on this, and I'll post a link at the end of this video so you can check them out. But very surprising. We have 2,700 people participated in this poll. 65% of the people said yes. 65% of the people said yes, that he can sign an executive order for stimulus checks, and 35% of the people say no. If you guys did watch my video, you kind of know how I feel about this whole thing when it comes to executive orders and the powers of a president. But if you don't know, check out those videos and you'll find out more. But the way that I feel about it and the way that our Constitution is written, we have a separation of powers. So Congress, they carry the purse, okay? And they have the money. And so if it's anything when it comes to like a spending bill, it's going to have to go through Congress, and the president can't just sign off an executive order and say, here's stimulus checks, because money is attached to that. So that money needs to come from somewhere. So interesting numbers there. But I mean, that's 65%. That's overwhelming. So the people who participate in this poll overwhelmingly said, yes, he can sign an executive order for stimulus checks. That is not the case. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move forward here. Do you have a plan for retirement? Okay. And this was interesting. This was a very interesting poll as well. Planning for retirement. This is something I think is very, very important. If you guys don't know, I retired earlier this month. And so this is something that I'm going to continue to focus on when it comes to retirement and planning for your retirement. I think it's very, very important. We had 22% of the people say yes, and we had 64% of overwhelming number of people saying that they don't have a plan for retirement. This is something, like I said, very, very important. Now, 64% of the people, we had 1,000 people participate in this poll. 64% of the people don't have a plan. You're going to get some information from me on this channel regarding retirement, okay? Because I think it's very important to try to retire as young as possible. That way you can enjoy the rest of your life, go travel, do all the different things that you want to do, and not be stuck in a job for 30, 40, 50 years. So we will be talking about that. It's not going to be the main focus of the channel, but I will do some videos about retirement and how to long-term invest and stuff like that. Okay, and then the 14%, I'm working on it. So 14% of the people are working towards retirement. Okay, so let's go to the last poll here. Now, the least productive politician in 2021, according to you guys. Now, 926 people voted. I encourage you, at the end of this video, I will have a link so you can go over there and you can participate in this poll, and as well as in the description, I'll have a link. And then, you know what? I think I'll put a link in the comment section. So just click on the link, go over there, and participate in this poll. I'd like to see a larger number. So right now we're less than 1,000. I'd like to see it around 2,000, 3,000 people participating in the poll. It just gives us a better sample. But looking at it, so Senator Mitch McConnell, 14%. Now this is interesting. Senator Mitch McConnell, 14%, because I said least productive, and I would have to say that Mitch McConnell was the least productive politician, in my opinion, because he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything as far as legislation. And he obstructed whenever he could, whenever possible, he obstructed. He had no plans to move forward with any of the bills that President Biden wanted to get through. So I would have to say that Mitch McConnell, in my opinion, as far as if you're looking at the numbers, he did nothing. Okay. Senator Joe Manchin, 50%. Overwhelmingly, people are looking at Senator Joe Manchin and saying he is the least productive. We'll go down to Kyrsten Sinema. Kyrsten Sinema is 3%. Now, I think she was able to kind of fly under the radar because of Senator Manchin, because Senator Sinema, she didn't do much either, and she was getting a lot of backlash from people in Arizona, her constituents, because they were like, where is she? We don't even know where she is. She's not really coming and doing town halls or talking with her constituents. And she had some reservations when it came to Build Back Better. And so as a whole, Senator Sinema really, she was able to kind of skate under the radar just because of Senator Manchin. He was out there more. He was talking about the things that he didn't like about Build Back Better and some of these other bills. And because of that, Senator Sinema was able to kind of not get a lot of press. Okay, President Joe Biden, 33%. So 33% for President Joe Biden. So if we're looking at the numbers here, overall, Senator Manchin, definitely 50%. And then second place is President Joe Biden. So, and when it comes, usually the president is going to catch a lot of the flack. If things aren't going the way that the people want, they're going to look at the president. And like I've said before, we talk about balance of power. It's not just the president. You have Congress, you have the judicial system. So you do have different branches, and they all play a role. And so we know that the president, he's going to take, I mean, when it comes down to inflation and all the different things that are going on, the president's going to take the most of that. Okay, he's going to be blamed for most of that. So overall, Senator Joe Manchin is the least productive politician in your eyes. And like I said, when it comes down to it, now when we're looking at Senator Manchin, of course he has opposed a lot of different things this year, but he did help negotiate the first infrastructure bill, which I think will be good for a lot of people as far as roads and bridges and jobs. That's another good thing that the first infrastructure bill brought through. It's jobs. That we're talking about construction jobs. We're talking about some well-paying jobs. So when it comes down to it, he was able to get that through. But when it comes to Build Back Better, that's right now, it's fresh on everyone's mind, the fact that he came out and against Build Back Better. And so that's, I think, what most people are looking at, and they're saying, yeah, you know what, he wasn't productive at all. He also had some issues with the first stimulus package at $1.9 trillion that we saw earlier this year. So that also kind of put him in that situation because they wanted more, but they had to reduce it down just to appease Senator Manchin. And then they did the same thing when it came to Build Back Better. And then he just backed out and said, you know what, I'm not going to support Build Back Better. So very, very interesting, these polls. I think they really give us some insight when it comes to the viewers and how you guys feel about certain topics. And we'll do more polls. I'm going to try to do a poll at least every other day That way we have something fresh to talk about on this channel. But I appreciate all your support. We're at the end of the year, and I will be doing a roundup video, and then I'll be talking about the future for this channel. I like to do that at the end of the year. And then I have another channel that I will be focusing on as well. So we're going to have two channels going. One's going to be focused on the retired life, and this channel will continue to talk about public policy and investing and retirement and stuff like that. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for stopping by. Please hit the like button on the way out. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.